It's about that time of day again. Welcome back to Nightly Newsletter, boys and girls. Joseph James here. It's Monday evening, October 31st, 2016. Crude oil is quite bearish this evening, trading at the low of a channel and a triple measured move after a strong bear run today. Even the S&P is range bound and trading right in the middle of a triangle. Gold is also range bound with a bear bias and waiting to see if those buyers can hold their pullback. If not, those sellers can be gunning for those lows again tomorrow. While the euro is bullish with a spike in channel and trying to retest today's high. But we're back for another week of trading as we finish the month of October and crack open a brand new month of November with a Halloween edition of our nightly newsletter. Now, as always, I got a great video in store for you guys tonight. Plenty of reliable opportunities setting up for tomorrow. Before we jump into our charts, though, I do want to remind you, the only place to watch the full-length version of this video is here on our blog at sidewaysmarkets.com. If you're watching the newsletter video right now on our YouTube channel, it's only a small portion of the entire video. There's a link in the description of the YouTube video. Follow that link and come over here and join me on the blog at Sideways Markets for the full-length version. While you're here, don't forget, join the mailing list in the upper left-hand corner. Name and your email address, and I'll send you an email every evening when our nightly newsletter goes live. Download those charts. You can have all the charts you see me using in tonight's video, have those ready to use on your computer tomorrow. Follow that link below the video on the blog. In the upper right-hand corner, don't forget, if you're not a member here at School of Trade, if you're not an advanced member here at School of Trade, I got a free pass for you. Grab that free pass in the upper right-hand corner. And don't forget, if you're brand new here to School of Trade, I got a great frequently asked questions page on our blog. Answers to all the most frequently asked questions, and I'm always standing by 24/7, 365 to answer all your questions. Don't forget, guys, keep in touch. Use that live support button. Last day of the month. We don't see this very often. Last day of the month, first day of the week. Of course, it's Halloween, right? October the 31st. We're going to crack open the brand new month of November. And of course, whenever we have a brand new month, that means the first Friday of the month is non-farm payrolls. So we got that coming right around the corner later on this week, Friday, November 4th. Keep an eye on that. We got an election coming up here the next week and a half. We've got daylight savings time coming up here. A lot of different stuff. We got Veterans Day to look forward to here in the month of November. Lots of action in the month of November, and continuing to see a lot of volatility and a lot of tradable opportunities every day in our trade room. Don't forget, we open the trade room every morning in real time at 8 o'clock Eastern time. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow morning right along with the rest of our advanced members. Now, we got a bunch of news tonight, right? If you guys aren't out there scaring the you-know-whats out of those kids, if you're not there trick-or-treating tonight, you get some news coming out of China. We've got the manufacturing, and of course, we're going to hear from the Royal Bank of Australia from the announcement from them at 11:30 p.m. Eastern time tonight. We do have some major news coming out of China, and that will always have traders in the overnight session keeping a close eye on that. So be aware of that if you're not out there celebrating with all the kids tonight. Be safe out there, by the way. Be safe out there. Tomorrow is, of course, the first day of the month, November 1st. We always expect to see a pretty active day, first day of the month, last day of the month, first day of the month. It's always a pretty active time of the month. We really don't have a lot going on here. We do have the beginning of the FOMC announcement or meeting. We'll talk about that tomorrow night. It's not going to affect us too badly here tomorrow. So that is the beginning of the FOMC meeting. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. Really, for the most part, though, 8:30 a.m., 9:45, 10 a.m., this is where the bulk of the news is going to be coming out tomorrow. That's pretty much it. So tonight, enjoy yourselves out there with all the kiddos, right? Trick-or-treating. News coming out there from China and Australia, a little bit from Japan there as well. And again, really for tomorrow, I'll get the FOMC meeting announcement. That won't be until end of day on Wednesday. Really, the meat and potatoes tomorrow are going to be that time between 8:30 and 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Other than that, we got markets gearing up for non-farm on Friday. We've got the meeting announcement on Wednesday. It's going to be a busy week here. We got to make it through Halloween and make it through tomorrow's session first. Don't forget, come out and join me tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern time, as an advanced member. All right, we got crude, E-mini S&P, gold, and euro. Let's try to make some sense out of it. We got some pretty crazy markets. Crude's the easy one. Crude is obviously straight down and bearish and trading right at the lows of a channel and a triple measured move this evening. The sellers clearly have control, but the bears won't want to sell this low after today's sell-off, which tells him to look for opportunities up at resistance levels overhead. And oftentimes, big moves like these will result in a trading range type of day, right, the following day. So the bears will be looking to sell the highs of a possible range, sell the highs of, right, any of these prior swing highs overhead. Buyers, on the other hand, need to wait for some proof before they can consider buying this market tomorrow, which means they need to get back above the moving average and manage to hold a pullback without letting the sellers take it back down to retest those lows tomorrow. This is one of those examples where couple really important things on this chart right now. First of all, we have a and there's whenever you see a market make a real strong move like this, a daily move, it's usually going to be some sort of spiking channel, right? Here's your spiking channel. That one at this moment is the most reliable channel because it has the most rotation, right? Spiking channel looks pretty good, right? Rotating from low to high, high to low. And so that spiking channel gives us the correction zone overhead. And so if the sellers have their way tomorrow, they'll want to see this price go up into the correction zone and come right back down. Really, when I see a spiking channel, I know the correction zone is the ideal, but I also know that any ability now to get back up to any of these overhead resistance areas for a move back down will be highly desirable for those bears because they're not going to want to sell this low. Now, with that spike in channel, we can also start expanding this, right? So take that channel, pop it up here to the high, bring that down, right? Here's your big channel. And obviously that's a resistance trend line coming down overhead. It's not proven yet, so we really can't rely on it too much until we see those sellers reacting to it as overhead resistance. Now, if you add that midline onto that channel, oftentimes when you see a real strong move, again, it's usually going to be a spike in channel or a spike in wedge, but keep an eye on the midline because the midline may really be all these buyers can get to before the sellers come back in and overwhelm, right, those bulls and send this price down, this price back down to retest those lows. So spike in channel is the most important right now. Larger channel is very much to be determined at this point. Add the midline in for some added resistance there. And again, it's clearly bearish. Bears, unless this market is on a tear again tomorrow, and we'll talk about that in a moment, right, what we're going to do if it does go through these lows, right? But we anticipate in most situations, though, right, sellers are not going to want to sell this low. They've got their measured move objective at 46.73. They're going to want to see price come up so they can send it back down. Come up, they can send it back down. Now, this is where the buyers have a shot here now. They're going to really have to show some strength, though. That's the one thing you want to be. That's the one thing going through my mind when I see a chart like this is that I am going to be suspicious of every move going higher. Even if we see a real strong move, I still need to see those buyers hold a pullback right now. So be patient on the buy side. You can be a little bit more aggressive on the sell side, but you got to get up off of this low. So right now the sellers. One more thing, and that's a possible trading range. A lot of times when you see these just big moves in one day, the market's pretty tired out. The sellers don't want to sell low, but the buyers aren't going to touch this. And unless we see some good profit taking off this low, what may happen is we may just see this price go up, get sold back down, go up, get sold back down. What ends up happening is it ends up creating kind of a trading range. We never really get a very decent correction. It just ends up developing into a trading range. If we see that trading range tomorrow, we know sellers are going to be focused on selling the high of that trading range. And what you want to be thinking of is as we go to the high of this range here, right, buyers are going to buy the breakout, right, breakout failure and sell it back down. Buyer failure at the top of that range, right? Those will be some easy selling opportunities here, right, in this overall bear market. So now that you know the basic principles, the bear spike in channel is definitely the most important because it's the most proven so far. We're at a measured move right now. We're hoping we get a chance here to sell without having to sell right at these lows. Now, as this price, again, we'll play the game, what if price goes higher, what if price goes lower here? As price goes higher, we're keeping an eye on these prior swings, right? All of these prior swings, especially that reversal line at 47.82. We'll see if we even make it that high tomorrow. Who knows, right? As of right now, though, those are all the areas of resistance here overhead. So as we go up, buyer failure, back down. As we go up, buyer failure, back down. Ultimately, as this price goes higher, we anticipate sellers to be more interested the higher it goes. And that, of course, will be the easiest way to see the sellers overwhelm those buyers as they start, right, to gain more interest in selling higher, and of course eventually the price, right, will come right back down. So as a seller, I've got my eyes on these overhead resistance areas. I have my eyes on the top of the channel, on the channel midline, right, on the high of that larger channel. It's really, really difficult to tell exactly how far off these lows it will go, if it will even go off these lows at all. But we do know, though, that as this market comes off these lows, we can assume there'll be sellers waiting to sell this price back down again. Now, if you want to be very specific here, really the line in the sand, at least in my book right now, is going to be this reversal line at 47.82. You've got the correction zone, so really buyers have a pretty easy job here. Well, pretty specific job. Let's put it that way. Easy may not be the word here. Get and stay above that 47.82, because anything below that 47.82, that naked reversal line, right, is going to be ripe for the selling. Now, as we go higher here, this is where the buyers can put something together here. It's going to have to come real strong. Buyers going to see some real strong push here, try to hold above one of these resistance areas here. And again, it's really difficult to tell which one is going to be used tomorrow. But let's just say, for example, we get a real strong move here, right? Real strong move from the buyers. The sellers take their profit. Big strong move. Get me and keep me above the high of that channel. Right, to the high of that channel will act as support. And again, the only way I can feel comfortable being a buyer right now is after some tremendous strength. And if you're wondering if it's not tremendous enough, it's probably not enough, right? It's going to be obvious how strong these buyers will go, right? They'll get above the moving average, they'll hold the pullback. What I don't want to do, though, is as a buyer is try to mess with this correction zone, right, up to that 47.82. So it's either going to be get to it now, right? Either get to it quickly or get to it after, right? Get to it after we get through that correction zone, right? Get above the 47.82. So it's either going to be get to the pullback now or get to it later, because we assume that sellers are going to be ready to gobble that price up as it goes higher. Sellers go up, they want to sell this thing right back down again with buyer failures. Now, we get the prior month open waiting down here at 45.98. Prior month open there at 45.98. Yep, 45.98, confirm that level here at the opening bell in the overnight session. So this is definitely going to be kind of a meat and potatoes target for those bears tomorrow if they can get this price going. Now, here's what I'm looking for. Once we get to that measured move, we're expecting some profit taking, like I said earlier, right? That's what you'd expect. But you know what? There's a bunch of shenanigans happening right now all around the world regarding OPEC, production freeze, bickering back and forth. Who the heck knows what tomorrow will bring? Well, all we know is the market is bearish right now. So we'd love to get it to go higher. If it doesn't, though, get that moving average below the measured move, and that's going to give you the green light here that you at least have enough strength here right now, right, to get this market pushing lower. This is always a real delicate area. We're at the measured move. The sellers have, right, they've got their objective. We don't want to sell low, but the market in a very strong bear trend, sometimes we have to sell low. The difference is that when we reach the objective, we can no longer just blindly sell the low of day, right? As we broke through the earlier measured move, sell the low of day, sell the low of day, sell the low of day. It's okay to sell the low of day in a bear market on the way down to achieving the objective. Now here we are at the objective, time out. Wait and see what happens next. Do we get the correction higher and then get a chance here to buyer failure right back down again? Or, right, do we just chop around here, like I said earlier, find a trading range and sell it back down, right, once we see that trading range? Or do we see it break down, pull back, a very strong breakdown that would allow me now to sell below that measured move? That's going to be your key component here. Can we get that moving average below that 46.73 area for move down to test the quad down. But really at this point, though, we have to assume that that kind of bleeding lower target is that prior month open as we finish up the month of October and go into the month of November. Very bearish right now. If you want to be a buyer, the keyword is strength. If you want to be a seller, keyword is get up off this low or show me some strength through that low so I can be confident in selling low to the next objective on the way down. How about some S&P? S&P's range bound, trading right in the middle of a triangle this evening. Triangles are basically the same as ranges. We want to buy low.